Hello. My name is Andrew. Welcome to my channel about software engineering. And it is a series of streams where I'm creating pipelines, project video generation particularly. I had this project for 6 years ago. It was in Python, yet it had some problems. So in this attempt, I will try to make it in Golang, because I want to have one binary, maybe with a bunch of config files, but it's also quite easy to hard code them into the build itself. So what kind of problem I'm trying to resolve? Small recap. First of all, every morning I need to increase the text size here. Yeah. So every morning I need to make some manual operations such as SSH to the server I have, execute script, approve, moderate, and all, since it's all in one, let's say, Python environment, and the process, let's say, requires my attention. I'm simply going to coffee, come back, execute, approve, etc. And then I'm going to prepare something, sandwich, whatever. And that's the reason why I decided to make pipelines with approvals from Messenger. That means I don't need to SSH to remote server, I don't need to wait for console prompt, terminal prompt, etc. All I get is a notification at 7 a.m. or when it starts about, hello, we have a bunch of videos, please approve some of them and then send us results. Maybe I simply pick a few messages and then checkbox, whatever. What's important is that process requires my minimal attention. All it needs is simply approves from me in 2 steps. First step about text, what this video about, I must approve it. And the second requirement is to approve if it can be uploaded to YouTube or other platforms. There is a problem when I try to upload to YouTube using scripts and automations. Sometimes those videos has 0 views, maybe 10 views, but when I upload those things using UI, it has 10,000 views, for example. And that's definitely something in UI form which I'm missing while uploading it automatically. Also, there is some sort of checks when video upload via API. Sometimes it gets, it's not a strike, but recommendation about you need to check this video, it might be fraudulent, etc. But fortunately, one of the themes of the channel and videos themselves is historic events that have been confirmed. It means it cannot be deceptive, it can be fraud, etc. If there is a patent registered at particular date by particular man, there is a link for this pattern, and YouTube as well as Google cannot say it's false. It is, can be confirmed easily. So this is also architecture about of this application I'm making. There is no database, there are a few workers, as well as multicast DNS, which plays some crucial role. I will try to get rid of shared storage, because in my last stream I was thinking about possibility of what if this worker has some result in memory or local storage, it doesn't matter, and it can process this result itself. Do I need to share it with other workers? Obviously, shared storage is a possible solution for resilience What if worker simply has some memory error, panic, he just disappears, and then every job, obviously it will have some sort of local caching. When worker started, should proceed what was dying, but it's a bit different story. For now, I'll keep everything in shared storage. So whatever worker does, it will always keep it in shared storage. But since I have multicast DNS and worker can discover each other, they can pass data each other via API, which means sometimes there is no need to shared storage in some cases. What if this file is 1 gigabyte? Do I need to pass it over Wi-Fi to one laptop to another? Definitely no. And it's still part of my considerations. I need to, let's say, think a bit more about it. Yet shared storage helps with resilience. Also, I have forgot one important thing about architecture. CI/CD. I'm using GitHub for now, and since this project is open sourced, it should have some free CI. Let me check if GitHub still supports it. GitHub CI. So the idea was a bit interesting. Let me hide it. What if I have created new version of binary, new build, and each of workers obviously have some sort of routine or thread which is dedicated to look for a new version of binary and then pull it. That means those binaries as well as workers themselves, they must trust each other. That means I must include something like mutual TLS in here. So let me hold on. Think about mutual TLS. Safety. And updates. So this is what I want to do. I would like to include CI as well as, let's say, I don't want to update each worker manually. That's important. What if I have 10 old laptops which can, should I simply make some SSH pool, etc.? No, I don't want. I want simply push new version and then each of those workers eventually will have new version. That's what I want to do. It's just binary. I'll do it later. And at last, I think there were plans and schedule. Yeah, here it is. I have started developing some blocks, and it's like a rabbit hole. I have developed HTTP block which makes HTTP requests, but to add some testing to it, I need implementation. For example, I have tests for block HTTP, which contains checks for schema fail. Each block is Golang class which has schema inside. Where is it? Have I? No, it's block parent. Good. That means here it is. Here. Yes, it's a schema for input data validation. So I have tests about what happens if URL is nil, what happens if URL is correct. and there is something to respond. So I have made it as well as validation for the schema as well as pipeline, but there is a problem. I have test about safe output. It's a place where I stuck at Wednesday, I think. So each block can save output. This is a method. And I simply pass storage. This storage, it's implementation of storage interface, obviously. There is local storage and remote storage. It's mini IO. Here it is. It's my shared storage. And I was stuck at the moment, which is a file name. So the problem, it's block itself here. So I have some sort of hierarchy. Today's August 31, nice. Define interface to storage. It's completed. Storage is done. Respect local. Yes, it is. Respecting as well as files. Yes, it is done. At this, it will be done later. So I have some sort of hierarchy for blocks. For example, I have pipeline, which contains some entities such as blocks, which is array. That means the output of this particular block must be aware of pipeline which calls it. I have pipeline registry here. So this registry contains a list of pipelines, and a list of pipelines, it's simple YAML file in here. So I might have multiple pipelines. For example, this one, it generates video from input. That input is simple prompt for OpenAI. But what if I want to generate video from static text? That means I don't need this block. I need to pass it from read from Telegram, for example, to replace it. I will create a bot which gets text and then generates video. For example, it will be different pipeline, but what's important, each of those pipelines, they are being scanned. This directory is scanned with readdir, and then it assembles into pipeline with validation. Obviously, there is new pipeline which is it has validation of those schemas, checks, and etc. But there is a problem. This pipeline has blocks which is not a block of from interface. It's not this block. That is a so-called data block. And the data block, it's a block from YAML file itself, this one. Let me find it. Yeah, here it is, block data. So I need to map a few things, such as block data should have access to block itself. Maybe it should have a new function. Block data, let's call it get block. And it should yield block. Since block it's an interface, I have no problems. But let's say I have registry. It should be a pipeline registry. It's not instantiated anywhere. So it should be some sort of singleton, which is created once, and each call to this singleton will yield only one registry instance. And then in here, get block will simply call that registry and say, okay, give me the block. Where is it? Registry. It was no, it wasn't detector. Yeah, here is block registry. And there is pipeline registry. There are two registries. So in here, I have block data. That thing belongs to pipeline. So pipeline registry has blocks. It has pipelines, correct. Each pipeline has block data, but there is no connection to that block. It's in here. I'm simply unmarshalling JSON from YAML to I'm unmarshalling this thing into block data, which is correct at some point, but there is no methods, nothing. How can I resolve this issue? First of all, I need to write a method for block data. How to unmarshal it? Let's call it to add a method for marshalling JSON, unmarshal JSON for block data to, how to say it, have connection with block registry. So this block registry, it was in detector, I think. Yeah, here it is. This block registry is created for one simple thing. It has a list of every block in a system, as well as a detection mechanism. So, for example, if binary runs on machine which has no internet connection, but it has some local connection, there won't be detected HTTP block as well as OpenAI block. So in here, I should also respect such thing as detect blocks. But there is another issue. It should not be done once. Every time I call detect blocks, it should run those detectors. And that means detect blocks must be, I think I have used it in server. Yeah. Every time server starts, it detects those blocks and then uses this list. So let's do the same. I think it's quite easy to copy paste. Detect blocks. So this one would be correct. I'll do it a bit later. Right now I'm defining what needs to be done. Pipeline parsing must not respect, but yeah, validate or check detect blocks. How to say it? Validate. Let's do it. Validate. Validate JSON config. Yes. What else? I think that's all. I have registry of pipelines. They are being parsed and validated. That's correct. Registry schema. Then registry validates the loader of this thing. That's correct. And load from catalog says, okay, new pipeline. Also, I have tests for this. So it's all about hierarchy of this results blocks. So my vision of this thing is straightforward. This block must have connection to pipeline. That would be correct, because each time pipeline executes, it's creating new instance, which means maybe here it should be, yes, set pipeline. And here I should pass pipeline here and get pipeline. So this interface should have these methods. And then each block, as well as block parent, I think. Where is block parent? Yeah, here it is. Should have this method. That means I need to add new properties such as pipeline, which is yes, correct. And obviously it should not have any serialization. Maybe I should make it private. Yeah, let's make it private, and it will not be exported. That's correct. Then I should implement those interface methods. So let's start from the bottom of this hierarchy and check what happens here as well as here. Let's call it pipeline. It was types. Obviously, I need to lock and unlock because it's an instance. Setter and getter, yes, it must be lock and unlock. Yes, that would be correct. Let's update this thing. Because I have pipeline, I can say block get pipeline. Then I should say get slack. Does this pipeline has that method? No, it shouldn't have any method because it's a static thing. So it simply, each time JSON parses YAML, it has new instance. So, and the new instance created every time execution happens. So each execution will have its dedicated instances, which means I don't need such thing. I can simply say, hello, there is a slug. And now there was another thing which I forgot. It's called, let's call it ID, which is string and JSON. No. Maybe you should call it a bit different. Yeah, let's make it. Yeah, let's call it ID, and the idea would be a bit different. Here is a pipeline, it's being parsed, that's correct. And let's say pipeline ID. And it's not a string, it's UUID. I don't remember how it was called. No, UUID dot UUID 4 maybe. And in here I should say new ID new. Yes. So each pipeline after it was parsed will have a separate ID as well as some schema. But why did I do it? It's here. Let's make it here, pipeline. Get pipeline, and here I should say pipeline slug, and in here pipeline ID. And here I should say get slug, but block parent has no get slug. It's I don't have slug here, so the problem. ID slug description input. There is nothing. Have I missed it? ID slug name. Why would I use a name? Ah, no, it's block parent. It's not block data. Of course, that's correct. I think I missed a thing. So I have a new pipeline. That's correct. New pipeline. It has blocks, which is block data. Correct. Ah, it was defined a bit lower. Okay, fine. But it's correct that each block will have its method, and block data should also have connection to pipeline. Where is it? Here. Yes. So this thing will have connection to caller. It's a pipeline. Also, it should have connection to the block. That would be correct. And since that thing created once and operated maybe a lot of times, but should it be should it have mutex? I'm still wondering, but let's make it not to have any mutex. Let's write a method for unmarshal. So Copilot has generated some code, but let's check it, obviously. Yes, so I used in one of my project, I used this thing. There was a problem with mutex serialization and deserialization. It yielded inconsistent results. So I had to create a schema for alias in order to avoid some things. Let me save it. Yes, everything here. So what I have in here, this is the contents of block data. I have no information about block except this one. So after unmarshalling, I must check registry for block with ID. But the ID. So that means I have to have registry at the stage of marshalling. So that means there must be So each time unmarshal happens, so here, here, etc. Let's check how much times do I have it. In this pipeline, it's 18 times. That means I cannot simply go to registry. I must visit mapping. And where was it? Mapping. Pipeline. Oh, by the way, I also forgot one thing. Let's not do it here. Let's do it in a bit different place. It was in pipeline here. So when I say there is new pipeline, there are contents, what's important, blocks here. For block. So here I can say your pipeline is this. But there is nothing about registry at that moment. Also, I don't like this thing. It should be a method. But there is one thing, it's a data structure. It's not operatable objects. It's about styling, I think. It's fine to make this in data structure because it's not interface, just the thing. Pipeline is set, but what is to say about block? Pipeline, block equals new block. This is tempting. But what is new block? That's not correct. That should be a registry, which means I don't need this. Pipeline registry. It simply says, okay, there is new pipeline, but in here, yes, correct, there is config, which means I should have this, a new pipeline registry here. So the problem I'm trying to solve is a moment when I should call singleton constructor first time. So in this case, where's that CMD? Here. I call new server, and new server has, okay, detect blocks. Fine. After that, nothing happens. There is no registry, nothing. And the detect blocks, it's not singleton. Okay, fine. I think I had it in... Let's check config. Or even better logger. Yes, I have singleton here. Pipeline registry. So pipeline registry created once. Block registry, it's in detector. Yeah, here it is. It's created multiple times and it respects runtime. So maybe firewall has been applied, so there won't be any detector. Let's write a function. And then it's possible to ignore a few things. So pipeline registry. So there is even better option. I call it only in tests, and there is config. Yeah, here it is, the place where I wanted to make it. So I have config, it's also a singleton, but there is a problem where to create this pipeline registry. So I decided to do a thing. What if I set up pipeline registry when config is instantiated? It's a singleton, so there should be no problems, but the registry will be part of config itself, which means get config, it will have this. That is correct. Because I was remembering there was a comment somewhere. So I have it. And let me check one thing. Pipeline registry, it's here. It's here, correct. There was a comment, not in the config file, yes. So pipeline registry created once when config is instantiated. That is correct. Now I need to figure out setup new pipeline registry here. Let's say registry. And now I need to attach, by the way, load from catalog. It should be there also. Yeah, it is here. It's also respecting runtime. So every time it is called, it will reload a list. Yes, that's correct. So here I don't need it. What else? I need a block registry. That's where I stuck. Here. That says new pipeline. Where do I call new pipeline? It's in pipeline registry. Good. That means new pipeline should have connection to the registry. So this one is done. I'm still wondering because it doesn't sound nice for me. That's the reason I have registry. It's created once. There is a function to register the pipeline itself. In here I say, okay, let's validate its config. Correct. If shit happens, nothing should be done. But in here I say P. So registration works from load catalog. So registration of pipeline. It's done here, it's parsed, and then I say, okay, there is a mapping, there is log, yes, log, correct. Let's move log below. There is no backward compatibility. This pipeline does not understand what its registry is. So pipeline slug title description blocks. Let's call it here. pset registry. It's a method register. that should be correct, but I have one registry, there is no need of such thing, and it's in config file, so let's leave it. But there is a problem in this particular state. So I have two places. First place, it's when I register pipeline, so I'm validating schema against big config, and there is another place where I instantiate this particular pipeline when I say new pipeline. So new pipeline, it's only validating that its own schema is correct. It doesn't validate data. This one. It does not validate this data. It's blocks block data. Yes, it does not validate it, which means PR register pipeline registry schema. That's most time-consuming thing. It's to settle where things must be validated in order to make it optimal. So I'm struggling with that particular moment. There is a registry. Okay. It was created empty. Correct. Then I call load from catalog, which means this one. So I'm reading that file. I'm creating dummy pipeline. And then I say, okay, let's do it inside new pipeline. I think that would be correct. Because pipeline registry should have no understanding about blocks detected or not. It should only work with pipelines. And that new pipeline should have, let's call it questions. But before that, let's make tests. In order to understand that I have not forgot anything. Oh, I have forgot to comment this as well as this. And there will be one test failed. It's a test about, let's find the output of the block. Let's check. What we have? Timeout. Deadlock. So I think it was done in here. Let's try it again. No, it's locked again. So I think it's here. Say new catalog. Let's comment the thing. Yes. If this is a place, yes, this is a place. So there is one test failed. It's about save output. Fine. So this is where it failed, and I'm quite happy about it. And I'm happy because it's config. It's not registry. Finally. So in here I should say I don't need it. Let's follow the runtime. Where is my server? CMD worker, new server. Here it is. That would be correct. I say new pipeline registry. Then I call load from catalog, but let's make it here. Now it would be correct, but it's a server, so the sequence is let's get config, let's make this registry, then let's detect blocks. Then detecting blocks in here. What should I do? Let's say I have config which has, for example, this Telegram communication. But this particular worker has no connection to Telegram. However, this is valid. It will figure out that I have no connection, which means let's call another worker. So I should not use detector in block connection. How to call it? First of all, I should detect what blocks are able to run, and then I should instantiate new pipeline registry with detected blocks. That would be correct. So by default, detected blocks, it's an array here. That would be better. Log registry. It will break a lot of things, but I'm happy. So this catalog. No. And here I can say, okay, new pipeline from this YAML file. There is file content, which is fine, but I should pass detected blocks in order to new pipeline content byte. Is it types? Yeah. Detected blocks. So each block, when it's parsed, will have an understanding. Was it detected or not? That means, in this case, block equals detected blocks. Then I can say, let me check what is it. Detected blocks was not here, but here. Detected blocks. It's in a runtime, which is correct. So each time I instantiate registry, I will have it to respect this file. That's fine. It's a list which can be empty. That's good. But I also don't like it because it's a list. It's each time I parse the thing, I should iterate that list, which is not okay. Let's make it a mapping, and it will take some time because it's used in everywhere. Make map string times block. It should yield map string. Yes, it will be better because it's O1 instead of ON. And here I let's make it to do. Make it map. That would be correct. So in this case, I can say there is connection to the pipeline. It's detected blocks. Nice copy paste. Pipeline blocks. And now what's important is to include in this block data one thing named detected true or false. It's private method, of course. Let's. I don't want to implement those methods. It's data. Let's make it uppercase. And let's make it also JSON none, as well as, yeah, JSON none would be correct, as well as YAML. Let's call it YAML. Also none. I don't want to parse it as well. That's all. And here it will be pipeline, and here it will be detecting blocks. So a few things. I iterate through everything what was detected. That is correct. What it does have method pipeline. What's wrong? Okay, it's correct. So I iterate through the list. I'm checking get ID. Detecting block, it's on block. That's correct. But where is my YAML? Oh, it's closed. Here it is. ID. That's correct. Now, block this one. It's an interface. And used to write. That's correct. Because it was detected, let's do it. And then I should say detected true. You know what's interesting? I don't need detected property because I have block. Let me check it again. There is function. Here is block registry. Yes, that's correct. I don't need to iterate through detected blocks to set this block. It is important. I need to say if it's detected or not. Break is not required. Let's do it. Okay, break. I need to iterate block registry here. For not detected block, but block registry. Okay, Copilot does nothing. Or it's a map. This is a place where I don't need this. Because I have this detected blocks passed on top. In here I should say block registry, it's a variable. Why it's not happy undefined block registry. Here it is. Blocks. Import cycle, beautiful. So it started to rain. I have this detector and I have a registry here. That is definitely not okay. So let me move this to the block. It will be done here. So in here I should import blocks. Now a few things. I have detector Go. Maybe I should also move this thing to blocks. Yeah, let's move it to blocks, and I wouldn't need this file at all. It will be in the end. Maybe I should simple copy paste it, but block the let's make new file. And yeah, that's fine. I have blocks, net HTTP, and now detector I don't need it at all. It's empty file. Now it makes sense. What doesn't it like? Import cycle, nice. Types blocks. What it's not happy about? It's not happy about that thing. It's correct. I'm happy that it happens. That means I need to create maybe a new folder named registry. And then simply copy paste block registry to here, as well as pipeline registry. It should be also here. Now let's call it package registries as well as this one. That's fine. That's also fine. And in here I should say blocks and types. So what it's not happy about block detector because it's from blocks. No, it's from types block. Now detector HTTP, it comes from blocks. That should be correct. Let's check here. It comes from types. This is also types, types pipeline, types config. I should have used feature named refactoring instead of this. Types block, and then here schema string. Pipeline registry. What? Types pipeline. Ah, beautiful. IO pipeline here. So this one is working correctly, but block registry also has some questions. I think there is another cycle. Yes. So types. Wait, type. Yeah, that's better. Not HTTP. What? Let's check. There is one method, I think, one detect invalid type. What's the problem? Cannot import data. Missing metadata for import. No. Come back. Here it is. It's worked. I think I know what's wrong there. Here. It imports types module, but types requires where is it? Types. Here, block registry. I think I have moved it why it's here. And the pipeline registry, let's move it as well. Let's cannot use new block HTTP. State block value does not implement detect. Okay, that's good. Okay, as that's possible, the problem of everything. I have cycle worker import blocks and blocks import types. That's bad. And here, types as well. Types blocks. Blocks requires types for what? Block data. Logger. Oh, it requires it everywhere. That means I will have to reorganize structure in order to avoid such problems. And in here, registry will require everything as well. That means I need to move these blocks. Maybe block data, I should also move it here. Yes, it would be a possible solution. Block parent, where is this? Here. Oh, I have block processor. This is a file which causes every mess. Let's move it to blocks. Oh, by the way, let's rename it. How to call it? Oh, maybe I shouldn't call it. Let's check what happens. Block detector, block processor. Its interface, which should be here. Correct. Now type block interface as well as block data should also come here. And then one of those things to implement should come here as well. Type storage. Yes, now it will be correct. And here I should simply save it and then remove. And it sounds like it has been resolved. Okay. Yes, now it simply blocks. There is no cycle. Resolved. Partially, at least partially. Let me check what's here. It's no longer types block, it's blocks block. Why it's moving it here? I think it should be below. So registry has no questions. Block registry has an issue with block HTTP. I think I found it. Worker types, where it is. And registries, block registry. Oh, that's code I managed to write today. Let's comment it for now. It should be, there are problems. And where do I use blocks? In here. You know what? I think I can do better. It's types. Let's make new thing, new folder. I think inside of types it should be correct. Interfaces. So it might resolve, at least make a few things easier. Block go. Block detector, block processor, as well as block itself comes here. Correct. Block data, where is it? It's here. It's structure from block itself. So block data. Let's move it to, it's not an interface. It's data class. But I want to have it here. Also, I want to make it self-sufficient. So this interface, it should not import anything. So moving block data to the interface itself should be part of the solution. It's just data class, but there is a problem. It imports something such as pipeline, which means I should make it an interface, some sort of interface here. Pipeline processor interface. I don't need it here. Let's move it to interface. Let's call it pipeline go. Here, package. Yeah, pipeline processor is in here. That's correct. What else? I should declare pipeline, which is interface, which will have a few properties. Let's copy those properties. Get UID, string, blocks, block data, it's no longer available, it's interfaces, block data. And here I should say and here these are tricky methods, so make it get. In my case it will be string, and here it is this one. So what I'm trying to achieve, it's to make this as interface, to call it everywhere as interface, but in this case it should be pipeline implementation. Since this pipeline is parsed from JSON file, let's call it pipeline data. It is a structure, new pipeline data, which comes from some content. It should yield pipeline data. In here it's interfaces. So in here I say new pipeline data, everything is correct. And now it is time to implement those methods. I have it partially here. So let's make it here. ID, slug, title, description blocks, schema string, it's lowercase, schema ptr, it's also lowercase. I don't need this method. Here, block data, it's interfaces. To be honest, I don't like it in interfaces. Because if it's inside here, it repeats block interface here, block data, pipeline data. Maybe I should move block data to the types, because it's just implementation. But in here I have it. Oh, no. I have block interface. ID name description, but I also have where is it? ID slug. So the block definition missing slug. That's a mess. So I'm mixing data classes as well as interfaces. So let's make it data class. This will be a solution, but I don't like it. Block data, it comes to data class. That's correct. This one. Interfaces. That should not be a pointer, it's just that. And here I see that will be a solution. Yes. Types. What's their storage? Oh, by the way, storage itself also interface here. So I can move it to the interface storage. Now it looks like working solution here. Yes, so storage has moved, and here I can say simple storage. Types pipeline no longer necessary. It's an interface. Data classes. That's good, which means what's wrong? Data classes. Here it is. Data class imports interface, but why do I import data class if I can say yeah, here it is. The problem, it's nearly 20 minutes overtime, sorry. So the problem I have found it while splitting some crazy code into interfaces as well as their implementations. So I have data class, its purpose only one thing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to make a pipelines. And where is that pipeline? Pipeline data. Hello. As well as whole code from here. Yeah, I can copy this all here. Now it should be correct, and here it should also be correct. And so the problem I met, by the way, why it's in types. It's not in types. I have validator, which should be in here. Let's call it validators. It's a standalone file. JSON schema validators is not, it's not requiring anything except some libraries. All validators. What do I have here? File format checker. Yes. Let's move it to pipe validators as well. I have schema extension, which validates which files can I work with. Right now it's just a few things, but soon it will be moved to config file. So let's forget about it. And in here I don't need types, I need editors. Yes, types has gone. There is no dependency. There is only one problem I have. So I have interface and I have data class. Data class, it's only one reason for its existence. It's to be filled from somewhere, let's say JSON or YAML itself, and to provide validation, nothing more, at least in my implementation. But my interface for some reason uses that in order to pass what is passed into process. So process, it takes block, which is hard-coded schema, etc., and it accepts some data. In this particular case, it will be block data, but it's not correct. It should be called this one, or even better, processable data, or let's call it data. Maybe I should call it yeah, processable. This would be solution. So I need to define this interface. Processable block data. Yeah, that's tough, but it's necessary. So the problem, let's call it type processable block data structure. No, it's not structure, it's an interface. It has two methods named get data and set data. Maybe I should do it better. It won't be a map, it will be just an interface. I don't know what it is. By default, it's just something. The idea would be a bit interesting. I don't need data class here no longer. Bye. What? Where is data class? Oh yes, for sure. Here it is. Now, yes, now it's correct. So this block data should implement these methods. Func b and let's copy paste it. By default, let's make it a pointer. And then here it's important to understand what to do. Do nothing. Thank you, Copilot. So I have this processable block data, which means if I navigate to block, where it is, block HTTP, there will be an issue with types, interfaces. Here, types block detector. It's not there, it's an interface. Yeah, that's correct. JSON scheme validators. Yes, everything has been fixed except one moment here. First of all, what is processor interfaces? Here. which is processable block data. So we don't know what it is, it's just data. Get logger. It's wrong. Yes, of course. Since my config doesn't use anything, I can move it to separate thing, maybe to data class. Let's check, there will be an error. What is config file? It's in constants. Yes, that's correct. So let's move it to config itself in order not to forget. Const. So there should not be any error. Another should be also moved. It's empty now, and in here. So no error, that's correct. Now I need to figure out what was here. Times get logger. No, it's config. No, it's logger another thing. It should be also self-sufficient. No, let's move logger to, I don't like this idea. But why not? In here, times get logger. Let's rework it. I think I know what's there. It's about package types, package config. Now it should be correct. In here it should also be correct. Interfaces, config. Okay. So blocks import interfaces. There is something. Now it's correct. So it's not a pointer. That's all, I think. Let me check. No, not all. So I have process method which works with data. By default, it's an interface. So it will be checked where go loader, it's fine, but there is an error which says it's an interface, there is nothing here. Where was it? Block data, where it is? Yeah, there are two things, get data and set data. And here I simply call it data slug. I don't need it. However, I might need something like data here. ID or string representation. It's not ID, but that would be correct, and return f from test f. So I have ID, slug, description, input, config, output. I do not need input. Maybe I need it. I don't need it. For now, maybe later I will need it. And in this particular case, I can call this method instead of slug. And now I need to define it in interface here. And then here I should, this is correct. Good. Storage interfaces. So it's been 30 minutes over time, I'm sorry. But finally I got the separation it looks like the only thing I need to do. There will be a lot of errors. Yep, undefined block data. So I will spend tomorrow in order to resolve these errors, because I have separated a few things. But what's important, processable block data. Yeah, so what I need to do, it's to split the things into other. For example, I don't like the config. I have config and logger. The logger depends on config, obviously. There are some logging formats, etc. But I don't like that config and logger located in one folder. Even if it works, I'm not happy about it. But I have separated those interfaces. Now, working with block detection will be easier because I have separated registry. It's in here. Also, it's not blocks, it's interfaces. So I can here say I don't need this. Yep, this file no longer highlight errors because everything marked as an interface. Here is call to an actual implementation. That's correct. I'll make this map instead of slice. Yes, I'll do it. What else? Oh, here. No, it's interfaces. Processable block data. Yep. Times block. No, it's interfaces. Block. Is this correct? It's implementation, is it? Yes, HTTP block. Nice. So I came to the moment where I must understand what is here. So let me explain it. Each block has its own block data. So in here I said get string representation. Where is data class? Here it is. So this is implementation of HTTP block. It says I have a block and I have data. By default, the data is interface because it was requested. What if I do this? Everything is correct because block data implements stuff from data class. To be honest, I'm not happy about this particular case because signature has been updated, but why not? Data class, interface, and config. Okay, there are no errors here, which means I can go to the pipeline and check what happens there. Nothing. So make test. Yeah, nice. So let's go to MDNS. Here it is. So by default, MDNS thinks there is a block. There is a block, but let's say interfaces. Then SSD, it comes from config. Nice. So now we have a few errors. Let's check config. Yes, make map string interfaces block as well as interfaces block. Correct. And here it's all the same. Config get logger. It's already getting out of hand. It's not config, it's logger get logger. By the oh yes, for sure. Okay, let's keep it as is for now. For the next stream, I should have it reorganized. Yeah, MDNS has been resolved. So let me start this unit test again. Beautiful. So storage. Storage doesn't know what is logger. Now it should know. By the way, let's let's try it again. I see there is one implementation. Yes, it's pipeline. Beautiful. These blocks. Block data. Yes and no. So this is the problem I was referring before. Processable blocks data. It's an interface. So get data, set data, that's correct. I have block itself, but I'm missing these methods. Get set pipeline as well as get set block, because each time I need to understand what kind of block was. Yeah, that would be correct. So let me navigate to this block. I have get and set data, but I need a bit more. Okay. It's data class, which means I need to work with interface. Get block should yield interfaces block. In here it also failed. So that's correct. And now, by the way, let's do it lowercase. We can remove this. Block in here. Interfaces in here. Yes, that's correct. So I have interface for data. There is interface for data class, which implements a few methods, such as get, pipeline, block, and what's important, it also has a few things to work with data. I have block as its own, it has pipeline, that's correct. And I have implementation of the thing. Okay, for now it should be sufficient. Let's check. I think it will be the same because I haven't updated anything there. Yes. Set pipeline. And here, what is pipeline? Pipeline, it's pipeline data. That's correct, but there is a problem the same as block data. So let's go and check what happened. Interfaces pipeline as well as interfaces and data class. Okay, I have these methods. And by the way, one more thing. Pipeline data does not implement interfaces pipeline method get blocks. Okay, it has block data, but won't get blocks. This is what we have to have. But pipeline data is data class. Where is get blocks? Here. It should yield processable block data. To be honest, I'm fine with that. But in here, let's go. Let's try, because I'm not happy about this. Yeah, this is a place which I haven't touched. So times block interfaces in here. So what I have in here, I have it as a processable, as interface in block parent where it is. Why it's not? And here detected. Let's work with this later. So this is what I didn't like last time. It's not processable block data. It shouldn't be an interface because I had it here. Here. Block and data. Here I can say data class. And now it's correct. No errors. Let's try. It was 2 errors. Oh, that's tough. So, this happened. It was that is correct. And I think which I was not happy about, it's here. I use interface and then I use data class. Because of data class, it's implementation of that interface, I can do things like data input, etc. But reality is this. I should use interfaces. And in here, I cannot say input. I must say data which casted to okay, I'm happy. So in here, pipeline, get data interface, data interface. In this case, get data, set data. Does not implement get block has pointer method receiver. That's correct. And here. But I can set only via pointer. Let's go to the interface. And here I cannot say. So can I? Okay, I'll deal with it a bit later, but to be honest, I wanted to do this. I wanted to cast data or call it here, not interfaces, but this one. By the way, why do I call it block if I can say block HTTP like this? So it also passes log. So this is the problem I have. By default, I assume that everything which comes to HTTP block has data suitable for HTTP. That's correct. And I would like to keep it. But there are problems, such as if I pass it as an interface, I can process any block, and that will be better. But let's do it later. Let's keep it as is. What was the problem? Again, it was interface implementation, chat completion here. Data get string representation, I think. Yeah. And here, input. Nice. Because this interface has no input, it has get data. By default, that get data is an interface, which means I should cast it to block data. Hello. Okay, I'll keep it as is. I wanted to make those tests at least failing at state where it used to fail. So I have a branch where I push work in progress stuff, at least in this particular case. So next tree will be September 2nd. So I'm stuck in this particular test. This test requires me to do a few things. First of all, I must define registry. I must define storage. In here it says config equals by the way, it's detector or what? Okay, I'll work with it later. And here it's registry. It was detect. By the way, one more thing. Detect blocks, where is it? Block registry. By the way, let's do this. Interfaces pipeline piece log. Oh no. Whoa. What's wrong? Data classes pipeline, new pipeline data. Now it's correct where P gets luck. Okay, another class fixed. And I have only one problem, it's here. So I'm working with block and block data. If I pass it as HTTP block, it will be fine. So let's, oh no, it won't be fine. There is lock. So, okie dokie, and here I should work with this. So let's try again. Beautiful. Now it's problem in tests, which means main thing has been tested correctly. Awesome. So I need to find everything related to this and replace it with validators. Yes. Save. HTTP test. Types block data. It's no longer viable. It can be replaced with data classes. Correct. Set1 block processor HTTP, it's no longer there. So let's check. It should be good, which means types config, and then in this case it should be this config get logger. Let's update it to it's resolved. Cannot use blocks processor HTTP value as an interface. Shouldn't do this. No, it should not. There is something what I have. I think I missed something. What method does it process? Have this and want this, which means, yeah. And now it should either fail. Yes, it should fail because it's input for here. 2 problems, maybe 3. No, 2. Nice. What to do? Because I want the stream to end in some positive, have some positive ending. Right now it's just, I will have to do it tomorrow. Data input URL. Let's do a few things. First of all, let's call it URL. By default, it's data get data. Then I should say input equals Okay. And now I should simply say input. That's tough. That must be rewritten. Maybe I should say get data. Something like this. So I should pass property which I need. That property related to JSON itself. Here. Where is HTTP config? Yeah. So it's input URL, which means if I want to get it from data, I should pass it like that. Yeah, for sure. I think there was a module. I had it. Go JSON map. I have created that module for a while. Yeah, it's still alive. I'm surprised. So what to do? I'll install this module. Go get. Correct. So I got it. Now I remember how to access that thing. Okay. So that is the way I used to work with that thing. So it's quite straightforward. If you have mapping interface or whatever, pass it here and then pass property. In my case, it will be input.url. Let's say if error not nil, then return nil error. That would be correct. Now go JSON map. So let's check what's inside. By default, it's an interface, which sounds reasonable. But in our case, let's cast it to map string interface. I think that's all for this case, and OpenAI input model and prompt. So I need two properties in case of to work with OpenAI, which means let's do that in here. Data, it is this. So it was model. What's wrong? It needs import. Now it's correct. Model value as well as prompt. So I can use it here. Now it's correct. Also, let me update previous thing here. Let's try. Errors. To be honest, I'm happy there are errors. Because if it works with this, after this kind of separation of interface, etc., it's quite, there is something wrong. These are tests which fails, and I'm happy with this. For example, what's their types? Get config. Yeah, beautiful. So in here I can say config, then I say config. What else? Types block. It's no longer existing. Oops. No. Copy type block. Interfaces. There are less errors. Fine. I think here. Yep. Types new registry doesn't exist. That means it's a registry. New pipeline data. So I have definition as well as detected blocks. So what to do with that? I can simply here, I can say here, oh, it's nice. Config. Suite config as well as suite detected blocks. Here I can say that would be correct, which means I no longer need to say new pipeline registry here. Suite detected blocks as well here. Now in here I can say now it should also resolve a list of problems. New pipeline data. Where it's repeating again. Pipeline blocks. pipeline has no method blocks, it has get blocks. And what else is there? Get ID. So get blocks, it has a list of processable block data. That's correct. Registered blocks, it's map string. Okay, let's assume there are less problems. I'm happy, but it's not the way. I'll leave it as is because it's already 1 hour over time. So my plans for next stream, which will be on Monday, it's to make these tests working and define it. I have registry. I have created hierarchy today, which means so start should work. So yeah, let's do it. Make tests work. Then add tests for block that is second target to achieve. This one is optional because I don't think block detection is made via in runtime itself. But each time pipeline triggers, it parses a list of blocks. So this pipeline has 18 blocks, which means there are at least 5, I think, HTTP requests. Let's check. No, not here. Here. Yep, 19 interactions with OpenAI. Let's say there are 7 interactions of OpenAI in each pipeline. 7 interactions per equals 7 calls to detect if it's possible to make 7 calls for each pipeline. It's not good. There are also at least 5 HTTP requests, as well as I think 3 more to Telegram requests. So to make this number of network calls in each worker, it's not good. In runtime, I mean. It's fine to make it when it starts. It's maybe fine to make it over time, like one block can have scheduled detection. So it's better. So where is it? Where are you, detector? Storage worker validation registry. Here. I have this detector. And each detector executes at the call. It's fine. When binary starts, it makes, I don't know, 5 records to 5 different services. That's fine. It should not detect block at runtime. It should have scheduled block detection routine. That would be correct. So this registry, it's fine to run it once. By the way, let's make it singleton, because if I'll call it every time, it's just not fine. Here it was. Logger, yeah. I love making singletons. Pipeline registry, no. It was in here. So I have block registry, which is a var, which is okay. Let's call it var once. That's correct. So I have this registry which is defined once, and this function should work once. That's correct. How to test it? It will be different story. Because testing right now works quite straightforward. It makes this function call, which the problem is here. It's in append function. If block was detected, it will be in list of detected blocks, but I'm not happy about it, because what if firewall rules has been updated? Should I restart binary? No, I do not want to restart binary if firewall was updated. That means I should panic, make block detect detect itself once per timeout butter interval. Yeah, let's go here. Panic, because this whole function must be reworked. Detect function, block detector, client URL, detector HTTP. There was an interface. Yeah, so I'll do it next stream. Let's call it plan schedule block detection routine. Yeah, it's my priority. That means I have dynamic list of blocks which can eventually blink, say I'm not available because GPU has been allocated for some job. There is no way anyone will use this particular worker. That is justification. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry for overtiming for like an hour or so. See you in a day. Bye bye.